Hello, it's JPX Skills here for another Project Euler problem. We're going to be doing problem 2 today in Java, and here it is. Each new term in the Fibonacci sequence is generated by adding the previous two terms. By starting with 1 and 2, the first 10 terms will be these numbers. By considering the terms in the Fibonacci sequence whose values do not exceed 4 million, find the sum of the even valued terms. Okay, so the first thing you'll do is create a problem 2 class and make your main function. The first thing that we're going to be programming is, well, the first thing that we have to do is declare some variables. And the first variable that we're going to declare is going to be sum. And sum's going to equal 0. The second variable is going to be I, and it's going to be the variable that we're going to increment in the loop. And I is going to be set to 2, and you'll see why it's going to be set to 2 later. Next, we're going to make array to hold all the values of the Fibonacci sequence up to 4 million. And when I say up to 4 million, it means the values of the Fibonacci sequence. The array itself will only be 50 place values. And so the array is going to be an integer array, and we will call it fib, short for Fibonacci, equals new int. And we're going to set the space in it to 50. So it has 50 values for memory or whatever. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the first value in fib to fib to 1. And we're going to set the second value in fib, which is f1 to 2. The reason we do this is because the first and second value in the Fibonacci sequence really can't be determined by numbers that are previous of the 2, because two numbers before 2 would be 0, and we obviously don't have that number there. So we're just declaring these right now, so we don't have to worry about it later. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a while loop. We're going to set it to true, some curly brackets, and we're going to add the incrementer, which is I. And so here we go. What we want to do, the first thing that we want to do in the while loop is we want to find the next Fibonacci number. And since we already have the first and second number, we want to find the third number. And so since I is equal to 2, 2 is already going to be the third number in the sequence. Since fib 0 is 1, fib 1 is 2, and so if we do fib 2, that's going to have to equal 1 plus 2, which is going to be 3. So we're going to do this by fib I, which equals 2, remember, and fib I minus 1. We want to find the number previous of it plus the number before that, I minus 2. And this will return 3, because the two numbers before it is 1 and 2, and 1 plus 2 is 3. And so once we get that, we're going to do an if statement. And this is just checking if it's not over 4 million. If fib I is greater than 4 million, then we will break from the loop. But if that doesn't happen, then we're going to do if fib I is divisible by 2 to check if it's even. Then we're going to add it to sum. And what this does is it accumulatively adds Fibonacci. So plus equals does. And that should be it. And before I do this, I want to show you something kind of interesting. If I'm to set this to 10, so it only goes to 10, and if you want to actually see the numbers in the Fibonacci sequence, you can just do, I do SISO and then control space, so system.out.println, and you can print out fib I, and you can actually see the numbers as they're being generated. So 3, 5, 8, and 13. Since we already have 1 and 2, those obviously aren't going to be shown, but it shows all the numbers after it. So you can see all the numbers up to 10, and since it stopped because 13 was over 10, we can do over until it's over 100, and you can see. But now let's just do 4 million to actually solve the problem. And we have our sum here, and down here. First, we gotta get rid of this because it'll slow the program down a little bit. And actually, no, it'll be fine if we keep that there. So down here, we're gonna do sum is and plus sum, and that should find the sum of all the even valued numbers. Sum is, let's see, 4,613,730. If this helped you in any way, please like the video. But thank you for watching, and please subscribe.